Hello, and welcome to episode 160 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa, and I'm joined, as always, by Matthew Figuera.
The weekend special, as my friends call me.
Oh,
no one
okay.
calls me that.
I thought you were going to say the podcast is the weekend special. Why are you the weekend special?
No, I'm just thinking we're recording on a Sunday, so things are mixed up this weekend. So yeah, no one calls me that. Please don't call me the weekend special.
I mean, I can see that. I can see that in your heyday, like you're at a teenage house party. You're busy saping on that good red square, and someone there is like, "Hey, Matty," and you don't answer, and then they're like, "Hey, weekend special." And you
I see. I thought of a difference. I thought of a party, but then I ring the doorbell and they open the door. They go, "Hey, the weekend special's here." And that's me.
That'd be great. That'd be great. No, it's just, but as long as you're rocking up with a red square, that's fine.
Exactly, red square, very underrated drink. It's
heart attack in a bottle. It's great,
but it's delicious. It's
I mean, if you're gonna go out in a way, at least go out drinking a red square.
Go out with that punch to the heart. Yeah.
To be fair, like I mean, at the time, you know, when we were teenagers, you used to drink all those really fucking terrible coolers. Like you had your Smirnoffs, you had your red squares.
There was Smirnoff. There's
Smirnoff
another one.
Spin. There was Twist, which had even like the glass was all twisty. There was Smirnoff Storm Red.
Brutal Fruit. Sorry, that's what I'm thinking.
Brutal fruit. Damn, those ones. Yeah, but like. Yeah. I used to like the Smirnoff Spins.
Whatever. I was going to say, do they still exist?
Probably, I'm pretty sure. I haven't
had those were some good shit.
Those were good, but they would fucking destroy your teeth. Like the next morning, I used to think it was an alcohol thing. Like the next morning, not being able to like your teeth are like sensitive. Like you're eating breakfast and you hung over and you just and every time you chew. But I've realized that it was just all the fucking acid and sugar in that drink actually like tearing away the enamel on your teeth.
And your teeth like, I've just put another coat.
Shit. Oh, my God, it's, that stuff was bad. And then, I don't know, eventually progressed to just like drinking beer and then making your own mixes, you know, because you're like, shit, these fucking Smirnoffs are so weak as hell.
Is it normal to progress that way where you start off like when you turn 18 or whatever age you decide to start drinking, you start off with the mixes, you know, like the Smirnoff Spins and the Brutal Fruits, but then is it a normal progression to as you get older just be like, yeah, but beer is really nice? Because I did not enjoy beer when I was 18.
Hell yeah, 100%. I mean, I had my friends who were drinking beer and I would, you know, every now and then try and drink just to be like, you know, everyone's drinking beer, I'm gonna drink beer. But that shit sucked. It was horrible. And now,
I have a memory of my brother. I don't know where we were, but there was one day we were out with his friends or somewhere doing something, and he had a beer, and he was just like, "There's nothing more refreshing than a beer on a hot day." And in my mind, I was like,
I will have a Coca-Cola.
There's nothing more refreshing than a Coke. Like, come on, beer tastes awful. Like, what's wrong with you? Now I get it. 100% get it. I'm like,
a crisp cold beer on a hot day is delicious.
I had a beer yesterday afternoon. I'm like, it's hot. I'm thirsty. We cracked open a bottle. I was like, yeah, this is what my brother was trying to convey to a younger me many years ago.
That's the thing though. You say thirsty. So like, if I'm out and it's hot, I will have a beer, but I won't get it because I'm thirsty. Then I'll have a Coke.
Well, both of them just as bad for you.
That's also true. Just as bad for thirst. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but
I never consider beer a like thirst quenching thing. It's more. This is refreshing.
Refreshing is the right word. It's just like it's some good stuff.
I really miss having beer on tap, especially Guinness. I haven't had a Guinness on tap in,
I must say,
fast approaching like 1.5 years, and it's killing me inside.
One of my favorite things eating out is like, hey, what do you have on tap? Oh, yeah, let me get one of those.
I was so depressed. Like, one of the first places we went to, once we felt comfortable going out to restaurants, we went to a steakhouse, a nearby called the Grill House. And I was like, "Oh, do you have Guinness?" And they were like, "Yes." And I was like, "I'll have a Guinness." And in my mind, I'm like, "That means I have it on tap." And they brought it in a can, and I was like, "No!" Like it's like still good, but it's
No.
nowhere near as good. And I was
It's
just like,
not the
"Fuck!"
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
um,
you could just be. It's funny how my brother's coffee love just has transcended to the point where his wife got him a beer tap for his birthday this year, like a full
oh my
on.
god,
Yeah,
that is amazing.
so he's told me
So,
there've
so
been
he's got
times
them kegs.
he's just has like the first keg. I think he's having a beer a day, and he's like, it's fantastic.
God damn! Didn't you? I mean, at your place, your old place, you had a bar there. Did you ever have
We never
a
had it.
beer
No, we
tap
never had
there?
a beer on tap or anything, but we had supply of stuff.
I remember you always
Always
had a lot
beer.
there. Yeah.
It is so funny though, because my mom always just had beers. Like if we were having people over, my mom would
Mm.
be like, "What does this specific cousin like?" And like,
I'll buy them a case.
it's like I think they like, for like as an example, Smirnoff Spin buys like literally like a 6-pack or 2 6-packs. I'm like, but this is
Listen,
the
she's
only
expecting them to get lit.
the only person who drinks that is ex cousin, whatever. But okay, now we've just got it in the bar. Okay, what beer does everyone like? I think Castle Light's always a good middle ground, and like Amstel buys cases of each. Like, oh my god, this is just too much now. We can't. What are you going to do with all of
I
this?
seriously missed out. I could have come to your house and your mom
You
would have been like, "What do you like to drink?" I'll be like, "Bitcoin." She would have been like,
whips out cases of Bitcoin. Like, Mom,
"Yeah." I'd be
how
like,
did you even
"Great."
do that? She winks. She's like, I bought these when they were on special like 5 years ago.
Good Lord.
Wow.
She just gave me your inheritance, essentially.
Shit. Imagine. Yeah.
I would,
But
yeah. A beer on tap would be nice to have at home, I think, because it's like, you can have one whenever. I think well, I actually don't know. I'm talking on my ass here, but I imagine it's a bit of maintenance.
I don't actually know because you know what, you're right. There's a little bit of maintenance in the sense that you can't just plug it into a keg and it works. I think there's like a whole separate gas
Yeah, there's like a compressor with gas
compressor,
and
yeah,
stuff
that you
yeah.
obviously have to maintain. I mean, not maintain, but keep an
It's
eye
like a
on and
fridge
stuff.
almost, essentially, yeah.
So yeah, there's that, but I mean, I
But
don't
there's
know.
nothing cooler. Like you have someone come to your house and you're like, "Do you want a beer?" And they're like, "Yes." And you just like,
Let me tell you, when
boy.
I'm fully vaxxed, well, when we fully vaxxed, I'm looking forward to going to my brother's place and having a browse something and just having some good old beer.
What keg did you buy? What sort of beer?
Castle Out. No,
And I
people
assume
give
you actually save money because like
it's
you're
like
buying in bulk.
okay, I'm thumb sucking now, but I think a keg like that is somewhere like 400, 500 rand, but it's like
And it's like what,
30
5
liters.
liters? Oh, is it
No,
30
it's
liters?
a lot.
Whoa. Okay, so that's like 12 rand a liter. That's crazy.
It's it's like 100 and call it like one. No, oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like 12 rand a liter or something.
Yo, and normally you'd pay what? You'd pay 20 something rand for a 500 ml. Like, actually, I was shocked when I went to when I left Discovery Bank. We had like a small, like a farewell thing at the Hard Rock Cafe in Santon City. And I got there early, and I went to the bar to have a beer, and I got a Castle Light on tap. Like a pint, and what's that, like 500 mils?
I think it's.
They charged me 42 rand for that.
What?
For a pint?
That's crazy.
They're fucking crazy. It's Castle Light. This is not some fucking import beer.
What is this nonsense?
So yeah, your brother's getting that at 12 rand a pint. No, actually less, because
Way
it's 12 rand
less.
per
It's
liter.
like
So
6
it's like
rand.
6 rand.
What a time
The
to be
fucking
alive.
savings. The savings. My lord.
Yeah.
Let's check on chat. We talk about kegs.
Sometimes.
One day we'll record Matty doing a handstand and drinking from a keg, like in
the
real
weekend
parties.
special. Here to
The weekend special, yes. My God.
Watch him chug.
So we've got quite a few. It's silly season in terms of games, and very likely the reason this episode's a bit late is to hit an embargo for Deathloop.
Mm-hmm.
Arcane or Xbox Game Studios' first PS5 exclusive.
Oh boy.
As weird as that sounds. So Deathloop is Arcane Leon. Arcane has 2 studios, I think. So this is Leon, which I think is the team, if I'm not mistaken, that did Prey, not the Dishonored series. But it is, for all intents and purposes, a Arcane game. If you've played Dishonored or if you've played Prey, you know what the gameplay sort of feels like here. Although I do feel like this is Arcane's best attempt at making a shooter as opposed to it's still an immersive sim in my view, but to me, it feels a lot better as a shooter because Dishonored, you had ranged weapons, but it was never felt like a shooter, and Prey was a shooter, but felt different. Why am I not moving in this footage? Okay, there we go.
You're busy thinking about life.
I'm like watching my footage. I'm like, what was I doing? Was I looking at my phone or something? So if you've seen the many trailers that this game has had over the past year, you should understand the core premise. You play as Colt, and you are stuck in a loop, so to speak, on this island called Black Reef, and you don't know at first glance you don't know why you're there. You don't even know why there's a loop, but you understand that you're aware of the loop, and pretty much everyone on the island is aware of it. They all know that every day time resets, and that's why shit is kind of weird on this island. They kind of do what they want because there's no real consequence.
Time's gonna reset, yeah.
Yeah, there's absolutely no consequence to what's happening.
You just murdered Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Yeah, it does look like The Mask, yeah. So they are also aware that you are here and you are trying to break the loop. And because everyone kind of doesn't want to go back to, I guess, a normal life, they are trying to prevent you from breaking the loop. There's a lot more to the story that you find out fairly early on, but I don't want to really talk about it concerning, like Cole and the main antagonist in the game, Juliana, who is sort of the person that hunts you down every now and then. She will like enter the area you're in and like be a much more dangerous threat because she has powers and she can really just fuck your shit up really quickly. So they have a relationship. They talk fairly frequently throughout the game, and their banter is really good. You get hints of them having a rapport before the game has started. So it's sort of like peeling back the layers of why she takes such satisfaction in killing you, why she's so adamant to stop you from breaking the loop, and your entire role within all of that. Okay. So from a story perspective, it's quite interesting because I'm like still kind of like learning, why am I here? What is actually happening on this island? How did we get here? And what is my role in this entire thing? But the crux of oh god, the crux of the gameplay is you have to break this loop, and the only way to do that is by killing 8 what they call visionaries, and they are like 8 citizens that keep the loop stable, so to speak. They all have powers. They are all surrounded by a lot of protection because everyone understands that they are crucial to keeping the loop alive. And you've got to figure out a way to kill all 8 within one loop. You have to destabilize the loop all at once. And that is a bit tricky because so the structure of this isn't that you have one big open world to explore. You actually have 4 districts of Black Reef to explore at any given time. And when you select a district to explore, you are in that district for that time of day. Time doesn't really progress while you're in the district, but as soon as you leave, then time will move from morning to noon, or noon to afternoon, and afternoon to night. So you've got 4 times of day. And the districts change based on the time of day that you explore them in. And the people that are in each district change according to the time of day too. So at the very beginning, it almost seems impossible. You're like, I have 8 targets, and at any given time, there's only 1 in each district. So already just doing the numbers there, you're like, I can only get 4. How am I going to get 8?
How do you get,
yeah. So
Oh.
a lot of the early game is about experimentation. The game is very good at guiding you towards the next big discovery. So you always have what they call leads, which gives you like information on your targets, and it says they are, a target I killed yesterday, Fia. She will always be in this place in the afternoon, so you can go there and kill her. But in doing so, you probably learn a bit more about her habits. You learn, oh, actually, she's also in this district at this time, and oh, coincidentally, she's there when this other person is there.
Okay.
So to speak. So it's like, okay, so how do I, devise a way to get both of them? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, I don't feel lost at any point. I'm never looking at. It's funny, the sort of leads reminds me of Outer Wilds in a way, because it's like it's almost like entries on a board that are connected by string. So you like zoom out and you see this big like mind map of possibilities, and then you like hone in on like what is next that I can work on. Additionally, the visionaries are the ones that have what they call slabs, which are what give you your powers.
Chocolate slabs,
Chocolate slabs. So you can see I'm busy using like a sort of blink, which if you've played Dishonored should be very familiar. It's almost identical to how blink works there. I think it's called shift here, if I'm not mistaken. You can only have 2 at a time, and they are, unlike Dishonored, they are an equipable item like a weapon. So every time you choose to go into a district, you can change your loadout. So you've got to choose which 2 powers you take in, which 3 weapons you take in, stuff like that. But you only get the weapons by killing a visionary. So at the beginning, you have nothing. So at this point in the game, with the footage that you're seeing now, if you're watching the video, I've killed about 3 visionaries and I've stolen their slabs. So that's why I have access to these powers. And then if you kill a visionary that you've already killed, you pick up upgrades for those powers. So for instance, one of the powers I have is the ability to stay invisible. And an upgrade to that is like, if I kill someone while I'm invisible, they won't leave a trace that they were there. Because enemies in this game disappear when they die, but they leave like, I don't know, like ethereal smoke. And that will alert other enemies that something has happened there, and you can't get rid of that smoke. It's not like you can hide a body or something. So there's a lot of there's benefit to like, okay, I haven't figured out how to stop the loop here, but I'm gonna go here and kill this visionary again so I get this upgrade, or I'm going to go to this area because if I kill this person, I'll get this weapon, stuff like that. But it is still a roguelite.
Yeah, I was going to say that to me, just from what you've said, it incentivizes you to replay certain bits. Because, I mean, imagine you kill Visionary and it's like, cool, you got the power. But you kind of have to kill them again because you're obviously trying to break the loop. Yes. So it's cool that they've given you a reason. It's like, no, you do it because you, like you've said, you just get an upgrade or something different. That's cool. Like that.
Yeah, so there is incentive to kill them multiple times. And so after each loop, so there's 2 ways in which the loop resets. If you get to the end of the night, then it just resets you back to the morning. Or every time you're in a district, you've got something called reprise. And if you die 3 times, then the loop resets. So it's kind of forgiving, where if you die, it will just like rewind you back probably like 2 minutes and you get to go again. And you get that chance like 3 times, and it resets for every time of day. Yeah. So it's not like punishing in a roguelike sort of way, like one mistake completely resets you.
Yeah.
But so what was I saying? So yeah, those are the 2 ways that things reset. But to keep equipment from one run to the next, you use a resource called Residium. Oh god. And that is something that you can collect off. I'm sure you've seen in some of the footage. There's items that are shimmering, so you can absorb it from them. and also visionaries that you kill, you get large amounts of residium there. And then in between your missions, in your loadout, you can use residium to basically infuse a weapon, and that means that it's always in your loadout every single
Every
run.
time. Okay.
Yeah. So you do that with weapons, you do that with slabs, your powers, you do that with slab upgrades, because the upgrades are equipable. They don't just change your slab, you have to equip them on the slab. So you have to infuse the upgrades as well. That's the same with weapon upgrades, which are just like little modifiers, and the same with character upgrades. So there's a lot that you can infuse during each run, and you've got a very limited amount of residium each run. So you've got to make very smart choices about what you think is very valuable to you. And there are some things that are valuable in some cases and very useless in others. Like in this footage now, I have a character upgrade which makes me immune to toxic gas, like you can see, which is really useful for this particular visionary kill, but is absolutely useless for pretty much everything else. So do I burn all that residium to keep this and potentially lose out on a weapon or, something like that? I've found most of the time that just burning my residium on powers is the most useful thing in the world, because the powers really do give you the ability to do incredible things. But I think the more I play, the more I realize that eventually I'm just going to have to figure out ways where I can bundle kills together, like 2-for-1s. And kind of that's how I'm going to break the loop. And there's a lot more to just, in this case here, I killed Harriet, who's one of the visionaries, and she's, to me, one of the more straightforward ones, because you see, I alerted her to the fact that I was there, and she didn't really run away.
She was still just chilling there.
Yeah, she was chill. Like, she was ready to fight me, but she was chilling. I have fought other ones where it is much harder, firstly, to get to them. And also, if they know you're there, things happen.
Okay.
I'm not going to say much more because it really does give away some really cool surprises. But I would say, like, if you saw this and like, wow, she just kind of like chill, she's easily by far the most straightforward one. The others, there's a handful I haven't even been able to kill because I actually don't know how to get to them.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, listen, there's a lot that this game front loads. The tutorial takes like 2 hours because it's kind of slowly introducing you.
There's a lot of information to
There's a lot.
Through,
and the one suggestion I would make is, at the beginning of the game, it's plopping you into districts. You don't really have control over where you go. It's kind of like telling you where to go while it's introducing you to all the mechanics. And it makes a point of saying, when you're done with that objective, you can go to the exit. Don't worry, you'll come to this district again. You don't have to poke around. Absolutely listen to that. Yeah. Because there is no reason for you to stay and poke around the district, because you only get the ability to infuse items very late into the tutorial. So you'll be poking around and losing everything.
And then doing nothing of value, yeah.
Yeah, you're wasting your time. So the game literally tells you that, but I can imagine a lot of people will be like, nah, I want to explore this thing to the fullest. Like, don't waste your time. You are going to come back to each of these districts multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, just get past the initial tutorial and until the game, like, kind of, it does. At a point, it's like, you've learned everything you need to know. Now it's up to you to break this loop, and you're free to kind of go and explore. So yeah, it's, I guess the only other aspect of it is the sort of asymmetrical multiplayer aspect. It reminds me a lot of Bloodborne and a From game, and
you get invaded.
A bit like Assassin's Creed in a way. So you can play at the beginning of the game. You choose: do you want to play as Colt, or do you want to play as Juliana, which are basically two different modes. And if you play as Juliana, then you are basically invading other players' games. And she's got her own sort of like upgrade tree, her own sort of powers and weapons. And when you invade someone's game, essentially you have to kill them 3 times before they kill you once. But Juliana can disguise herself as any regular enemy, so you can hide in plain sight. You've got very, very cool powers that can really mess. I mean, yesterday I had someone invade my game who was just teleporting around everywhere and absolutely wrecking my shit. So it is fun to play as her. It's a nice little distraction. You can, if you're playing as Colt and you only want an AI controlled Juliana, you can have that. You can change it to
switch it
single
off.
player
Okay.
mode. You can also change it to only friends only, so only friends can invade you.
Putting that off, I don't want you invading me.
Exactly. I did find that in single player mode, Juliana invades your game far fewer times.
Okay.
So, and I really enjoyed the aspect of like, I'm busy doing my thing, and next thing it's like Juliana's invaded because she's a threat. Like,
Yeah.
she can really turn your run into complete nonsense very quickly. So I liked being online and having that persistent like anxiety. But she can only invade, I think, once per run. So if she invades in the morning and you kill her, I think I haven't seen her invade
multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times in a run. And there's some runs where she doesn't invade at all. So,
you're like, thank God.
Yeah, thank you. And then one run, like I died. So I was like, okay, well, I was busy with the lead there, so I'm just gonna skip time to that time of day and just carry on there. And as soon as I got into that area, it's like she's invaded again. I was like, fuck.
Oh no.
Like, come on, just leave me alone.
Is there incentive for like if you do kill her, do you get any
Yes.
resources or upgrades?
Yes. So if you kill her, she drops a random slab. So any of the slabs that the other visionaries have, she can drop. So you can actually pick up an upgrade for a slab like without without having to kill that visionary. She also drops really good weapons.
Nice.
So yeah, so you can see that at the end of the footage, when you leave a district, it's sort of like a end of score screen type thing. It tells you what you achieved. It tells you the sort of knowledge you discovered, and those are added to your leads.
Yeah.
And that is all kept in like a central repository. But again, the game is very good at like giving you waypoints to figure things out. There are puzzles that you'll have to figure out, but I haven't found them like too intense yet. They're very satisfying. It makes you feel smart all the time, and it shows you all of the stuff that you gathered during that particular run, and then you choose like, what do I infuse? You can sacrifice things to get more residium, and you kind of just building up your inventory for eventually your final loop where you take all of your knowledge and kill everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. These cutscenes are really good. The style of this game is just seriously great. Really, really good. The dialogue is fantastic. The music's really good, and it runs really well on PS5. It defaults to a performance mode, which I think you shouldn't change because it's like, this will run at a solid 60. And you can change it to, this will run at 30 but have ray tracing. And I think for a game like this, I would not sacrifice the higher frame rate.
I'd put on just to see what it looks like, but then I'd probably just switch back to...
It's so stylized as well. Like, it just looks really good without any of that sort of stuff. But yeah, I've liked Arcane games in the past. I liked Prey. I've liked Dishonored. I've never loved them in the same way that other people have. I truly am falling in love with this game. Like, it is slick. It feels like the most polished thing Arcane has ever made.
That's what I was going to ask. Is you've given a very good overview of how the game plays and stuff, but are you specifically enjoying it? And sounds like you are. So.
I'm digging it. Like it was slow going at the beginning, and I was like, I just kind of want to be let loose almost. And even then, when I was let loose, I was having that. I always have this problem with Dishonored where I'm like, does it want me to be stealthy, or does it want me to go like all out? And this game is really good at just playing the way you kind of like feel comfortable. So I go stealthy, and as soon as I get detected, I'm like guns blazing. I'm just killing everyone, like or running away or stuff like that. And unlike Dishonored, there's no score at the end telling me, oh, you were not stealthy or you killed this many people, whatever. Like Deathloop doesn't give a shit. Like at the end of the day, it's resetting, so it doesn't
You're trying to break the
care.
loop, so
Exactly, it doesn't care if
matter.
you're stealthy or all out. It kind of just, it doesn't hit you over the hand saying no, bad, you weren't stealthy, and I like that. I like that I can just play any way I want. I can use as many powers as I want, because like your powers are governed by an energy meter that replenishes, so I don't need to keep finding mana everywhere, to use my powers. I think they've honed the sort of gameplay they've been messing around with in Dishonored over like 2 entries, and this is like the perfect blend of that. It feels seriously good.
Well, as someone who has not played it, I mean, I've been excited for this game since the reveal trailer. I love the style. I think it's very stylistic. Just looks very cool. Like there's no other word to describe it. And yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it, because I'm very keen to dive into it when it does launch. When does it launch?
Yeah.
Is
it launches on Tuesday. Yeah, so when you're hearing this, it's out, because the embargo
surprise
just before. It's on PS5 and PC. Apparently it's got a year exclusivity on PS5 in terms of consoles, even though Arcane is now owned by Xbox. So yeah, that is what it is. But it's a good game. I definitely think it's Arcane's best game that I've played, and just very different.
It's an intriguing
at first
premise.
glance, it's like, this is a roguelite, and it's like, yes, but it's also a sort of roguelite that I've never played before. In the same way that Hades was like, yeah, this is a roguelite, but it's got a story that I've never encountered in a roguelike. This is a structure that I've never encountered in a roguelike.
I was just gonna say, it feels like roguelites as we know have, like, the mold has been broken, where Hades was a good example of like, cool, here's the structure, but let's put a real emphasis on story, and there being lots of dialogue and incentive to do run. I mean, roguelites always have incentive to do runs, but this was a thing of like, well, I really want to know what happens, so I'm going to keep doing runs. Whereas this feels like it's definitely got elements of roguelite, but there's like an actual sort of progression system or structure to it, which is different.
It feels far more forgiving. A lot of people hear roguelites and they're like, well, I'm not skilled enough to play those games. And I think developers have sort of understood that, but have found a way to keep the tension of the roguelite feeling with a tangible sense of progression. And, with Hades, that was narrative progression. Every loop, you felt like you were getting some new tidbit of story. In Deathloop, it's the same. It's story, but it's also just like mechanical progression at the same time. It's funny how so many studios came to the same conclusion at around the same time. They were like, what if we make the characters you play in the roguelike aware of the loop? That changes everything. So like Hades did that last year or the year before. You had Loop Hero earlier this year, which did that. You've got Deathloop that's done that now. And it's like they all figured that out individually at the same time, and it's completely redefined what a roguelite is.
How dare you leave out 12 minutes?
Well, we're talking about good games here.
And I mean, it's interesting how, okay, you're 100% spot on, weird how a lot of studios have sort of figured out how to break the structure of a roguelite or roguelike, but how weird that there are just so many time loop games as well. Just a weird million of them. I mean, I actually forgot all about Loop Hero earlier this year, and it's kind of same sort of thing. It's wild. Yeah, it's almost like they go to like a keynote or something, and someone's like, "Yes, this is the new trend here." Time.
They all attended the same talk at GDC, and they like have an ephany individual.
Like, wow! And then 2, 3, 4 years later, they all come out at the same time on the same period.
I don't know. It's fascinating. I love that roguelite especially is becoming a far more I would say like standard feature of games, because it for the longest time it was reserved to indie titles, and it still is. Like Spelunky was the one that really put this format on the map. And then Hades, I think Hades was the real touch point for a lot of people. And now it's just like kind of, again, it's sort of like the idea of role-playing progression systems that just became a part of adventure games or action adventure games. Like roguelike features are becoming that. But in far more inventive ways. I think it's very smart. And again, I get the apprehension. A lot of people hear roguelites and they're like, not playing that. Like, you owe it to yourself to play a modern roguelite because they are not the same games. They are not. Go play Spelunky and then play something like Deathloop, and they could not be two more different
super
games.
Different, yeah.
But they both have elements of the same ideas. Like, so yeah. Cool. Deathloop's great. I am thoroughly enjoying it. Gonna play lots more because I'm still like every little layer that I peel away, I'm like, oh, like I can see the setup happening. Like, just like, ooh, this is nice. This is good, and I'm just having it's a real power trip. Teleporting around and blowing people's heads off. It's real fun.
It's a good time.
Game is super violent, and I like it.
I love violence. I wake up every morning choosing violence.
I choose violence.
I choose Deathloop. Cool.
That's Deathloop. Good game. Real good game.
Nice. Cool.
You've also been playing new games.
I've been playing such violent things.
Two new games.
Oh yeah, let's start with I suppose if you're a big Call of Duty fan, you'd know that Vanguard had is it a limited closed beta this weekend?
Yeah, I think there's another one next week.
So I think PlayStation gets, it had the exclusive early access this week. The next week it's open to all PlayStation people, but access to everyone else who pre-ordered, and then the following week, if I'm not mistaken, is a full-on open beta. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, Call of Duty Vanguard is this year's edition of Call of Duty. They've gone back to the World War II era. But for all intents and purposes, I've just spent about 3 to 4 hours in the multiplayer. And I mean, I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan. I sort of dip in and out every now and then with different editions over the years. But yeah, at face value, it's just the fast-paced Call of Duty multiplayer that you probably recognize. If you're looking at the footage, it's very fast-paced. Respawning is like within 3 to 5 seconds.
It's the fast-paced war that your grandfather fought.
It's it's like incredibly fast. But yeah, it's
Jesus, this is fast. I'm just watching super this fast, and it's crazy. Yeah.
But I think the biggest changes. So the mode I'm playing here is a new mode. Oh well, let's just recap. There are obviously the familiar favorites. Team deathmatch, domination, which is there are 3 points in the map. You have to capture them to get points, and kill confirmed, I believe, is a staple where. If you kill someone, they drop a dog tag. You have to try pick it up to get more points.
Your points only go up when you get the dog tag. When you get the kill. Yeah.
But I'm actually playing domination at the moment on the footage if you are watching. But later on, you'll see there's a new game mode called Patrol, which is it basically takes domination. Instead of having 3 points, it puts 1 point in the map, and it's constantly moving. It moves very slowly. It's not like it's
sort of like King of the Hill.
I suppose somebody gets the most kills, you have to follow them around, try to kill them. But Patrol is very much there's 1 point in the map. It moves sort of around the map very slowly, and you have to try to stay within the ring, to capture it and keep control of it for as long as possible, because that's what gets your team points.
So does the ring move?
The ring slowly? Actually, it almost moves on like a slow track around the map.
Okay.
So
that's
when
cool.
when I first played it, I mean, again, I've only played a few hours. I really like that mode. I think it's just an interesting twist, if I could call it that, as opposed to camping a point or constantly respawning and capturing and running away to another point. You incentivize to follow this point around, and even though you die a lot, because I mean it's Call of Duty, the time to kill is very quick. Respawn's quick, and it's fun to get into those frantic firefights where, for example, like, okay, the rings on this part of the map, it's moving this way, it's about around the corner, it's owned by the enemy. I'll throw a grenade there and then rush in. You might get a kill too, then you capture the point, but you might die 5 seconds later. But then you respawn and you do it again. And I found that like very entertaining. I mean, there's some nice feeling you get just knowing like, okay, there's enemies there. I know what to expect. I'm going to go in and get a kill too. I'm probably going to die, but it's going to be fun trying regardless. But I found that I've read some people's early impressions, and some people don't enjoy it. They're like, no, it's too chaotic, it's too frantic, it
very
looks
very chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I think it's just a nice twist, I guess.
I mean, that is Call of Duty staples. It's like a very small time to kill, and just like in and out of battle. There's something that I've noticed just looking at this footage. What the fuck is going on with these guns? Like, these look like modern guns. There's like hollow sights, there's silencers.
Yeah, so I was telling you, it's always blows my mind where we've gone back to World War II. Like, there's obviously been a reason for this, some, I don't know, executive decision or team decision, but you kind of can't go back to conventional World War II when your fan base expects, modern warfare with lots of different attachment options, lots of ways to customize your weapons. Like, imagine coming to this game after the last Call of Duty and it's like, cool, you can choose your gun. And that's it. Some people be like, yeah, but I want to change my scope.
Because that's how it used to be. Like, that's
I mean, that's old school Call of Duty. But yeah, like I was telling you, it's funny because it's World War II aesthetically, but in terms of functionality, it very much feels like, I don't know if this scope I have on this weapon existed back then. Or
I mean, I'm literally looking at this gun you're using here, and it's got like a sight with like a yellow.
Yeah, it's like a little hollow sight almost.
Yeah, it's a hollow sight, and it's got a silencer. And being Call of Duty, I imagine that a battle pass will let you eventually buy a sight customization upgrade that will let the reticle be a weed emoji or something for real
or something different. Yeah. Well, let me just scrub through this footage quickly because you'll see. Is it after this map? Yeah. Have a look at the customization here. There's a lot.
They're like, if we make this what is this foregrip wood, then it's authentic. If it's not metal, we'll make it just wood because that's what they used in World War II.
Historical accuracy aside, like, throw it out the window because it doesn't have that. But in terms of customization, it is very cool to have the option. So if you watch again, you're watching the footage, you'll see, if I equip this magazine, for example, or this foregrip, it's like you'll get, maybe better aim, but it'll take longer to aim down sight.
This is a real Frankenstein sort of gun customization.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if you're a Call of Duty fan, it is fun to have the choice. So like me, for example, I love having the ability to look down my scope as quick as possible. I love sprinting around corners and just having the option to aim down sight quick. But I've played against people who have clearly, customized their build to be focused on sniping, for example. And it takes them like an hour to pull their gun up, but like it's a one-hit kill.
If they hit you,
yeah.
So see, you've got perks as well. So it's perks. Okay.
It's very much like it's Call of Duty with a World War II skin. At least that is my impression of it. Like,
okay.
It's if you're expecting Call of Duty, like you might be put off going like, oh, but it's World War II. Like, I don't like the weapons from World War II. Like, I assure you, it's World War II weapons, but you can still customize. Yeah. I think
the base is World War II almost.
Yeah, I think there are 10 aspects of your gun you can customize, from everything from magazine to grip to sight to muzzle to barrel. Like, there's a ton.
And it doesn't look like I think Cold War did this, and I think all the Black Ops before have done this, where you've got like 10 points to spend on your loadout, and every attachment or perk you take adds to those points. So you can have classes where you take no perks, but you put like thousands of attachments on your gun. Here, it doesn't look like that's the case.
No, it looks like you can customize to your heart's content. Okay, you can have any attachment you want, any perk. Thing, yeah. Okay. But I think one other thing this game adds is there are 3 different flavors. If there's an official name to the different game modes, but every map you can play. So this map, for example, I could play it 6v6, or I could play it 12v12, or there's a new blitz.
12 on this map.
Hang on, it gets worse. There's a new blitz mode, which is 24 versus 24.
Oh, fuck no. No, that's too many people.
Which, yeah, so like I get it. It's obviously there to, maybe show off the capabilities of the engine. It can handle that many people while still being super smooth. But
you don't have an instant melee?
No. Well, maybe you do if you have the right attachment. I don't know.
Okay.
24v24 in my experience is too much. It's like I appreciate Call of Duty's got, very quick to kill, but you're very quick back in the action. But 24v24, it's just a little too chaotic for my liking. Yeah. I mean, on this map you can kind of get away with it because it's like a medium-sized map. But there's another
small though, like
it's not massive, but there's another hotel map, which is part of the beta, which is much smaller, and I played that Blitz 24 vs 24 team deathmatch, and it was it like going inside is suicide. Like
that sounds like a spawn and die situation.
I mean, within reason, but it's not my favorite. But on the bigger maps, I could see it being fun. Like obviously, I don't have access to the full map pool, but I imagine if you could sit in the lobby and go, well, I specifically want to search this map with 24 vs 24, like you could get away with it. And you can obviously play that. You could play team deathmatch. You could do control. I think kill confirmed is probably the best way to play it, because it must be fun to just run in, get a few kills, grab some dog tags before you die. But just my knee-jerk reaction is it's just too chaotic.
This mode that you're playing now looks real fun.
This is patrol. Yeah, so I quite like it. Look how the circle's moving, and I mean, I'm out in the open, but I die.
Yeah.
I spawn, and I'm sprinting back to that point, and it's on a different part of the map. So
I think it's a clever. So I was thinking King of the Hill, where the point like moves on the map, like like teleports. But the fact that this is like moving on a track almost.
Yeah, it's just so like if you're looking at the footage, I know it's around the corner. It's owned by the enemy. There's someone there. I'm gonna throw a grenade.
Nice grenade throw. Love it.
I'm gonna kill that person, but I'm gonna die. But it's fun.
You've got some good kills here already.
Yeah. So. I've enjoyed the beta. I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan, but I appreciate Call of Duty for what it is. It's just a fast-paced shooter, and I could very easily lose hours to this over a weekend or over an afternoon or an evening. And there's incentive to play because like the progression system, there is the typical, your character levels up or your profile, where every level gives you either unlock a new weapon or you get a new perk or
very
kill streak.
Traditional Call of Duty.
Yeah, but this, with regards to attachments and weapons, the more you play with the weapon, the more it levels up and you unlock attachments. So, like, there's a lot to do if you want to sit and grind your way through all the weapons or just focus on specific weapons. Like, there's incentive to keep playing because you're constantly unlocking stuff. I mean, based on your performance, when I started the beta, I was doing awful. I wasn't really leveling up.
Getting your eye in,
but when you get into the swing of things, you start getting all those perks and all these new weapons and a whole lot of stuff. And it's good fun. Like, I appreciate that.
It looks good as well. I mean, this is, as far as I know, it's running on the same engine that Infinity War did. Yeah. The Modern Warfare engine, which is why you can like mount your gun on corners and stuff like that. So yeah, that's cool. I mean, Modern Warfare was the last Call of Duty multiplayer that I got really into. I didn't really stick around much for Cold War's multiplayer. I'm interested to see how this integrates into Warzone, obviously, because that runs on the Modern Warfare engine. So I assume them bringing content into one or the other might be a lot easier now. I wonder. Yeah, I mean, I may have missed an announcement for this, but I wonder if Warzone turns into a World War II thing now.
I don't think it turns into World War II, but you might find that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not into Warzone at all because it's like half a terabyte of space I don't have in my life.
It's a whole
but I
SSD,
imagine, I imagine it's a thing of maybe they include some weapons from this game or some perks or something from this game. I don't know I don't know to what extent that map changes, like say Fortnite, where they say, well, it's a new season, we're resetting this map, and this corner of the map will be taken straight from, Vanguard. Or I honestly don't know. I can't tell you.
Yeah, because they only slightly did that with the Cold War stuff. They if I'm not mistaken, they transformed the current map. And yeah, like you said, they put in content like weapons and some characters from Cold War.
Yeah.
But I haven't played Warzone in ages. I mean, I played quite a bit when it launched, but I just can't keep up with battle royales. There's that remote control car you spoke about. What the fuck?
I'm running. I'm panicking.
They really should have at this point. Like looking at this footage, I mean, they should. There was that rumor pre-reveal that this was going to be an alternative timeline, sort of World War II, sort of like a Wolfenstein sort of thing. And looking at all the shit they've put in this game, that actually might have been
basically
cool.
Feels like it's, yeah.
I mean, it looks like a Wolfenstein where there's just shit in there that should not be there. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Look,
cool.
It's good fun. Like if you enjoy Call of Duty, I mean, I suppose depending on what kind of fan you're on, which game you specifically enjoy, you'll either love or hate this. But if you're looking for more Call of Duty, it is Call of Duty. It's just got a World War II aesthetic for all intents and purposes.
Boots on the ground, Call of Duty. No jetpacks here.
I mean, there's a lot of other stuff though, like we've touched on, but no jetpacks, sadly.
No jetpacks, yeah. There's still remote control explosives, but no jetpacks. Yeah. They haven't gone that far into World War II yet,
Yeah.
That only comes at the end of the war.
My goodness.
Cool. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks good. Visually, I think it looks pretty great.
Call of Duty is known for that buttery smooth. It just performance-wise, it always looks and feels good, and
it's still a cross-gen game.
It's cross-gen, yeah. So I think that is an awful stun grenade.
Yeah, that was a really bad grenade.
When you pull open the scoreboard, you can see who's playing on what platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I imagine this will be the last cross-gen one.
I think the next one will be just straight up. Although we say that, but
I don't know. I mean, in a year, will the stock issues be sorted out? I'm not sure.
Who knows?
So it could be the next one, could be the last one. I'm just more curious to see what they do with the first like real next gen one.
Yeah. You've now moved on to modern tech exclusively.
Although to be fair, the Modern Warfare engine that they introduced with Modern Warfare was like, to me, felt like a generational leap. Because I hadn't updated that engine in a long time, and that game just looked fantastic, even on PS4 and Xbox One X. So
well, that's Call of Duty,
Vanguard
coming. When is it launching?
November 5th.
Is it November?
I think, yeah. Okay. November 5th. So not far away.
Cool. And there will be additional opportunities to try the game out in future.
Yeah, I think this coming weekend, if you're listening now, at release, is an open beta.
I could be wrong, but I think it's only open for PlayStation.
Yes,
and then
but you don't need to have pre-ordered.
Yeah, and then the following weekend, I think it's a free for everyone. Give it a bash.
Give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl.
I'm sure they're going to be updating. They'll probably put in more maps. And
they might, swap out a map or two or something.
Cool.
Yeah.
You also been playing some good bullshit called WarioWare.
WarioWare, let me tell you. So let me just get this footage up quickly.
Wario. I say bullshit in the most endearing way because it is bullshit mini games that are just fun and ridiculous, like in their own way.
So if you've never heard of a WarioWare game, so I've only played one in my lifetime on DS. I can't even remember what it's called. But WarioWare games, for all intents and purposes, are just collections of outrageous mini games. And by mini games, I mean literal dozens, if not hundreds of mini games that take you 2 to 5 seconds to complete at a time. And the whole gameplay loop is fixed around you just going through a sequence of them as quickly as you can, with a limited number of lives, where if you fail one, you lose a life, and you obviously see how far you can get. But yeah, this one has a story mode. I can't remember if the DS one had a story mode. It doesn't ring a bell at all. But yeah, as you'd expect from a game like this, it's not it's not going to win any Oscars for.
There's a lot going on
narrative.
in this cutscene. It's very funny.
Can I tell you before I talk about the story, the animations and the cutscenes in this game are just, I love them so much. Like you can tell that the team had a lot of fun putting together this bullshit. Like what is going on? It's just crazy fun, silliness.
This almost looks like one of those weird YouTube rabbit holes you fall down.
Exactly.
Where you find like really fucked up animation. Like this is the vibe I get from it. It's bizarre.
Like what's going on? So in terms of story, the premise here is that Wario runs a gaming company. I know, WarioWare. Holy shit. And yeah, just before they're about to launch a new game or a new platform, and I know the platform's corrupted with the bug and it sucks all of them into it, and you start off with just Wario and you have to make your way through the internals of this game to, rescue all the other characters, but by playing a bunch of mini games.
Okay.
Essentially.
So it almost looks like a dungeon crawler, and each creature is like a small mini game.
Yeah,
oh God, is that Animal Crossing?
there's some really cool little cameos here that I did not expect. Like if you're watching the footage, there's some Animal Crossing. Here's a Splatoon one. So what's different here, though, if I'm not mistaken, is that you unlock characters and every character plays differently. Okay, so Wario, for example, has a jetpack, and if you push his ability button, he does a dash forward. This character on screen now, you can't stop moving her. She's on a scooter, but when you push her ability button, she throws a boomerang that you can control, and she stays stationary. So I think there's about 18 to 20 characters, if I'm not mistaken, and they all handle differently. But it's been designed in a way that every minigame can essentially be played with every character. So you'll notice I'm also playing with a character on a skateboard who cannot stop moving, but he shoots a yo-yo upward. So you'll find that if I'm playing a minigame with him specifically, and I need to... You're shaking your head at the minigames. I know.
It's so funny.
They are ridiculous, but it's good fun. It's
they
just,
come in thick and fast though, hey?
Here's a little what's that game called? I've gone blank. The Toad game. Treasure Toad.
It's Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh God, Game & Watch. There's some real deep cuts. I love the Metroid one earlier.
There's
Pikmin.
So if you're wondering, I'm in a world specifically where it is Nintendo RPs or mini games. I didn't know what to do in that game, so I died.
Looks confusing. Yeah.
But yeah, the games come in thick and fast, and really it's just about figuring out first of all how to do them and just doing them as quick as possible. As you play through each level, the mini games get faster and there's less time to complete them. But there's also a few boss levels where, if you're watching the footage, this is essentially a Mario level. And this is a skateboard character I was talking about, where I can't actually move left and right. I can only go forward. But in order to change direction, I have to shoot my yo-yo up and capture a ring, So what's cool is that they've designed the game that every mini game can be played with every character. So if I were to have...
That's crazy cool.
Yeah. Wow. So if I were to play a minigame with this character specifically, they obviously have to think, well, this character can't move left and right at will, so we have to include rings, to give them the option. There's another character who can't move at all, but they can shoot projectiles and latch to stuff with the projectiles. So there's a lot of variety in that regard, where I don't recall there being a whole cast of characters in the DS Wario game I played. It was really just a bunch of mini games. But what's cool here is that you can, as you progress through the game, you can sort of choose your party of characters to go through the sequence. So you could play as, I want to play as Wario, the scooter girl, and the skateboarding kid. They all have names. I just don't know them. I don't know them. There's a whole Wario universe that I
WarioVerse.
A whole WarioVerse.
That's some lore I don't want to get into.
Exactly. It's all I can say is that if you're looking for a WTF game just that'll make you laugh and make you play, I mean, there must be hundreds of mini games in this game.
Which is
so
crazy
many.
to think about. Like,
Yeah,
making each one and making them fun and also just like fast there's a
yeah.
lot of invention in that.
Yeah, obviously, the longer you play the game, you will start, seeing the same mini games pop up. But you might find that, this time I'm playing it, I'm at the end of a run, I have to be a lot faster, or the parameters have changed somewhat. Like, this character was on the left previously, now it's on the right. How do I solve this room in the next 3 seconds before I lose a life?
Yeah, that's the thing. It just, oh god.
So this is just a tutorial. Yeah. So this character hoverboard can only shoot right. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're playing 2-player, which is a new feature to this game or this franchise, which I haven't tested yet, it's you playing the same mini games with a friend, essentially.
That sounds chaotic.
Which I'm very much excited to try with Lenska, because I think we'll have a lot of fun.
I definitely think as like a sort of party game, this would be a ton of fun. Because I mean, the mini games are easy to understand because they're super simple. They have to explain their rules in like 5 seconds. So
yeah, well, like, the only thing you're given is a word, which is like destroy or escape, and you're like, oh god, how'd I do this? Oh, there's a hole over there I have to move through, or I have to destroy this character, whatever.
These cutscenes are a real fucking fever dream. They're
so good.
Really
I love them.
Good.
But I mean,
really good.
So the game itself, real good. Had an absolute blast. But the narrative, well, the campaign mode is very short. It's like 2 to 3 hours, I guess. So you'll finish that.
Quite short, yeah.
In no time. So if you come in here for the story, don't. It's super. I mean, story is fun. It's just what you expect, silly Wario fun, but it's short.
So if you're only planning to play like alone, it's like not tons there for you.
Yeah, and as a full-priced game, I find it. Look, there's always the debate of in terms of is you can't determine a game's value by its length, but in a game like this, I do think if you're paying a full $60 price for a collection of mini games, like I can't quite. Yeah, here's the tweezing mini game. But
I love tweezing Greek gods. It's great.
After rolling credits, there is incentive to keep playing. Like, they've actually packed a lot of stuff into the game, which I did not expect. So as an example, there's a weekly challenge where the game's just come out, so I've only tried the first week. But it's basically like, you have to play this series of levels with this one character. How far can you get, or how well can you do? And you obviously be ranked up on a global leaderboard based on how many points you get, which is quite cool if you're looking for a competitive angle. And you get rewarded with currency. So in playing the campaign and just playing the mini games, you get rewarded Wario coins, or just coins, I guess. And you get to spend them on cosmetics or items for your characters that you can level up. So there's this like whole meta game that happens after you've rolled credits. So there are legs in that regard. I can't tell you now, is it worth the time? Because I haven't really got to dig into that. So I've just rolled credits on the campaign. But look, I can tell you that a game like this, I had a lot of fun. It's quite short. So yeah, take from that what you will.
But I'm having a lot of fun watching these.
You're just watching, and you're like, wow.
It's just every single one. I'm just like, wow, that was ridiculous. And some of them, they really are like, it's very vague what you kind of need to do. I actually have no fucking clue what's going on here.
So this is a boss level now where I have to protect the little character on the left while doing, it's being grabbed by a tentacle. I'm like, oh no. But I unlocked the door there, and I've got to save it. But
there was some complex ones there, like you had to trap an octopus, and it was like the first thing you did was shoot, and you killed the trap, and it's like, well, you failed.
Yes. But I mean, obviously, if you play the game more, you learn what each mini game is, and then it'll be a lot of fun, stringing through them all at a rapid pace, seeing how far you can get, how fast you can do them.
Great water physics there. Enjoyed that.
I just love, you can tell the team had a lot of fun putting this together, because it's dumb silly fun. And like you said when we started the segments, you don't sit in a negative way. Like it's an endearing Wario way. Like it's silly. You know what you're expecting. Yeah, it's again. I don't know. Like
his characters are called Dribble and Spits, which I just picked up on now.
I'd love to recommend it because I enjoy the game, but at $60, I don't know. That's a question mark for you to decide. Like how do you determine game value? I guess, and would you get $60 of value from a game like this?
Yeah, how much do you like WarioWare's brand of mini games? Yeah.
Is it a good or bad time? I had the
last question I have, and it's probably the most important, is Waluigi in it?
No, actually,
that is bullshit. There's this
whole cast of characters of people I've vaguely recognized from the last Wario game, but no Waluigi.
Missed opportunity there, Nintendo. Man? What's up with that? Okay, sure. That's cool. That looks like a lot of fun. I think as a multiplayer thing, I think that's where I would get a lot of value out of this. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
this guy looks like a real
so he can just fly. That's it.
Good lord! I like that he's got like a, I don't know, swimming ring and then flippers, but then he's got like a Cyclops eye. Like, what is going on with this design? And then he's doing wavy arms. I'll tell you,
there's a whole universe here we don't know about, or maybe diehard fans do, but I'm still learning.
God, if you hit some LSD before playing this game, you can have the time of your life.
It's great. Yeah, and that's WarioWare.
And that's game. I mean,
a lot of games.
We promised modern games, and we gave you them modern games.
Yeah.
So yeah, lot of stuff coming out this week, and stuff that is out already. So that's cool. Should we, talking about game releases, move on to video game releases for this coming week? Where we are well past halfway of September already, which is fucking terrifying.
Let me get this open.
So we are looking at video games from the 11th of September up until, let me just grab my calendar here, up until the 17th, which is not many, but some big uns.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so kicking off the week is obviously Deathloop, PC and PS5, September 14th. And then we got Timberborn coming to early access on PC, September 15th. Game Deck. Okay. PC, cool. September 16th. I didn't realize this was out this week. Skatebird looks like a lot of fun.
It does.
PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and Luna. Oh, not PlayStation. Weird, I didn't know that. I wonder if that means it's on Game Pass.
I have not seen anything.
Eastward, PC and Switch, September 16th. Origami 2, that is on Game Pass. PC, sure. PS4, PS5, and Xbox. Severed Steel comes to PC, September 17th. Tome, which I swear I've seen some reviews for this and looks pretty neat. PC, PS5, and Switch. Nexomon, is that a type of Digimon? I don't know. Basically all the consoles, September 17th. Tales of Iron, September 17th as well on all the platforms. And then Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom Prince's Edition coming to Switch on September 17th.
Well.
Oh, and then the week after, got a good game called Kenna coming out.
Is that? My God, I cannot believe that's
Kenna, funny, Sable, Diablo 2, Death Stranding, all in the same week.
I can't.
It's too so much.
Please, that cannot be good.
Yeah, I'm keen on that. But man, we've seen like nothing
proper gameplay.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Should we move on to gaming news?
Starting with this week's headline, the PlayStation Showcase.
The future of PS5.
The future of PS5, which feels like this year's been interesting on PlayStation because there's definitely been some stuff. Okay, like we've had Rift Apart, we've had Returnal, we've got Deathloop coming. But it feels like Sony last year launched the PlayStation 5 and said, here's 3 or 4 big games, and then that was it. We know obviously there's stuff coming, but we haven't had a look at the new God of War, the new Gran Turismo, whatever. This PlayStation showcased, sort of laid out. Well, it didn't really lay out a roadmap because there are dates, but there are dates and there aren't dates for some things. But it's a very good indication of the future of PlayStation and what you can expect. And yeah, I think there were some definite surprises, which is very cool.
It's funny that the things that got dates were the things that are very far away.
Oh yeah,
and the things you'd expect to be close got no dates, which I found strange.
I
thought it was a pretty good showcase. But yeah, let's run through it. Wow, I was not expecting this.
Who expected this? Is this a PlayStation exclusive?
So it is a console launch exclusive. So it will be PC and PS5 at launch, which to me is a fucking big deal.
That is a pretty damn big deal.
Especially since this has never been on a PlayStation console. Knights of the Republic and the second one originally came out on PC and the original Xbox. So for Sony to cop this, it's a big thing.
It's just like a weird, where did it come from sort of
It's on the level of a Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusivity deal.
So
but, as soon as I saw Aspire pop up there, I knew this was that because they've been rumored to be working on a remaster of this. I didn't realize it was a full-on remake, but yeah, as soon as you saw Revan's mask there, I fucking lost it because I was not expecting that to be the first thing at the show. Holy shit, yeah, I'm so down for this. The one thing I've seen some sentiment for on Twitter, which I kind of agree with, is they really need to, we don't know what extent that this remake is being made, but I hope they go the route of a sort of like Final Fantasy VII remake where they redefine how especially combat works, because this combat in this game is very old.
It's very old and very, it is very D&D or like tabletop sort of gaming.
MMO sort of style, it's like choose your moves and watch them play out. I don't think a game. I think that's the primary thing they need to address is the combat, because I think the rest can kind of just stay as is. But I'm curious, man. Apparently a lot of the original team is working on this. BioWare's not working on it, but ex-KOTOR BioWare devs have joined Aspire to help out with this.
Nice.
And it's been in development for a long time. So what's interesting is that it's developed in part by Lucas Games. So does that mean KOTOR is now canon again?
Who knows? Who knows?
I'm keen. That looks good. There's no dates on that though.
No, but very, very exciting nonetheless. Project Eve. It's so funny. So I watched the showcase about an hour after I just flew through a wrap up. And John Michael was like, just have a look at this game. So I was like, okay. So the trailer starts and I was like, there's like a very, there we go. There's like a very panning on this character's bum. I was like, okay, I see where this
real
is
Bayonetta
going.
Vibes there.
Very real Bayonetta. And I was like, how typical, it's targeting, teenage male audience. But let me tell you, the longer I watched this trailer, the more intrigued I was. I was like, this actually looks like a really pretty action game.
Yes, yeah. It looks like a real good character action game.
Yeah. It's not made by Platinum. It's made by another studio whose name evades me at the moment.
Yeah, it was literally just shown on the screen, but now I've forgotten.
It's gone.
But
it's gone.
Yeah, I think it's a new developer. Funnily enough, this game had been revealed already before, but I think this is the first time it was on like a biggish stage. It's got real Bayonetta vibes.
This got a lot of screen time as well. This is like a 5-minute long trailer.
It's
in a showcase where trailers are 1 or 2 minutes long, it got a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the more I watched it, the more I was like, damn, this actually looks really
good.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm keen on that because fuck knows when we're getting Bayonetta 3, even though it was announced 3 years ago.
Who knows?
So yeah, I'll take anything in between then, because I was not the biggest fan of Devil May Cry 5, unfortunately. And this looks more in line with the sort of
Mm,
character action sensibilities I dig. So yeah,
yeah.
looks
Oh,
the creature design looks crazy. There's a
it
lot
is
happening.
real Bayonetta though. A lot of the
Yeah,
stuff I'm like,
my
good
God.
lord.
So yeah, that looks cool. That is there's no date on that either. So yeah,
Nope.
that's just called Project Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got another look at Forspoken, which
Forspoken.
has been shown off a couple of times now. It's from Luminous Productions and Square Enix, and it's described as an isekai game, which is, as far as I can tell, like a fairly normal person put into a very Final Fantasy-esque world where they kind
Yeah.
of call out how fucking weird everything is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a genre, but
An
that's kind
actual
of cool.
genre, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So just quickly, this
So
was Project Athia for those who
yes,
don't
Project
remember what it
8,
was.
yeah. It's now Forspoken. I didn't realize the story is being written by Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig.
Yep.
So
No idea
Star Wars
either.
Rogue One and Uncharted fame, they are writing it. So that
So
immediately raises my
yeah,
eyebrows. Like, that's
they're
cool.
like,
I want more of that. Yeah.
So I'm very keen for that side of the game, and the game itself looks really cool. But I do wonder what the final product will be like, because the footage shown, the movements, like I can appreciate what they're going for with the movements. This big open world with, very cool parkour, I guess, your abilities to traverse it. But there's something a bit rough about it still, which I'm thinking is, it's still in development, obviously. But I hope that as time goes by, they sort of polish that out. Because then, yeah, like color me intrigued. But if you watch the footage, there's just, I don't know if I'm being nitpicky, but there's just something a little bit rough about it.
No, I do get what you mean. There's a I want to say unpolished because obviously the game's only coming out in spring 2022, so it's still there's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And to me, the most interesting thing about this game is the breadth of movement. Like, it seems like you zip through this world so quickly. But yeah, there is a sort of roughness about it. Like, especially the frame rate was bad.
Yeah.
Watching this game. So, but man, there's a lot going on. Like, these powers visually look like crazy.
They're amazing, yeah.
It almost looks like an engine like demo, an Unreal Engine demo. So yeah, I'm curious to see more of that because I'm with you. I'm not entirely sold on it yet, but there's a lot of small things in there that I'm like, shit, this looks crazy. Yeah, 100%. I kind of want to know more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's coming exclusively to PS5. Yeah.
2022. Spring is what, like March next year?
No. Spring is American spring, so it's like April, May.
Is it April? Okay, April, May.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't that far off.
How dare you?
Alan Wake Remastered. We knew this was coming, but it got an actual trailer.
Looks cool. I like Alan Wake. This is obviously not just coming to PlayStation. It will be on PS4, PS5, Xbox, PC.
But it is the first time it is on PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
the original wasn't.
Yeah. It was an exclusive on Xbox. I, to this day, cannot believe that Microsoft hasn't tried or didn't at the time try to bring Remedy in-house. It seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, they did 2 games with him, right? Alan Wake and Quantum Break. And I mean, Quantum Break is this weird question mark for me because I think it reviewed fine.
It wasn't great.
But I mean, Alan Wake,
I liked it. Yeah,
Alan Wake was really good. Like, I think that reviewed well. People loved it, and they just
it's a cult classic now. It's like it's up there. When you think of Remedy, you think of Alan Wake and now Control, in my view.
Max Payne.
And then obviously Max Payne. Yeah,
remaster Max Payne.
That would be fucking cool. I'd be down for that. But I enjoyed Alan Wake a lot, and this remaster is coming out on October 5th. GTA 5. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. Apparently, well, I'm curious because I heard that this trailer got a lot of flack. Yeah, look at this.
Well, it got delayed. So this remastered version was meant to come out November this year. And now it's only coming out in March. So that will be 9 years since the original release. Like, come on.
Yeah, but look at this ratio: 21,000 likes, 67,000 dislikes.
Because it's just, I think the people who are
mad.
playing GTA Online, they're playing GTA Online. It's it's there, whatever. Like then I say this, but it's always on the top 10 sales like every fucking month on PlayStation. So clearly it's still selling. It's
still selling. So
I just don't. I just couldn't care less for it right now. So yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
This game looks fucking balls to the wall crazy. And
it looks crazy, but what I can't put my finger on this game because Ghostwire Tokyo meant to, when it was first shown, it's like, ooh, very scary looking game.
Yeah.
Spooky, very spooky.
Well, it's made by Tango Gameworks, the Evil Within people, Shinji Mikami, the Resident Evil creator.
But when I see gameplay, I'm like, I'm very keen to play it, but it looks very action heavy.
Yeah, it doesn't look spooky at all.
Okay. Like, I'm sure there will be elements of horror to it, like, no doubt. But the footage I'm seeing, I'm like, damn, it feels like, for comparison's sake, like, just the perspective, it's like either Bioshock or Dishonored or even Deathloop and the whole, it's a first-person action game with powers. It
sort of reminded me of Skyrim if you went to full mage build because you just have, like, magic in both of your hands and it's first-person. Like, I don't know what this game is, but I'm so keen to find out because it just looks ridiculous.
Coming out, no release date, but expected.
It was meant to come out this year, but it got delayed. And I was kind of shocked that there's no firm release date on it yet. I expect this to be out early next year.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so yeah. Uncharted's coming to PC. And PS5.
Which is... Real, so it's the Legacy of Thieves collection, which is Uncharted 4, and the, I suppose, spin-off / standalone expansion, The Lost Legacy, with Chloe and Nadine, in one wholesome package for PC. Let me tell you.
For a second, I thought it was all of them, like all 5
Me too.
games.
I thought, holy shit.
That's a big package.
5 games on PC. If you've not played Uncharted, like, it's easily one of my favorites action / exploration / narrative games. All I'll say is if you have a fondness for Tomb Raider, like, for all intents and purposes, Uncharted is, well, Nathan Drake is a male Lara Croft. Like, it's the same style of game. You obviously,
or a young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you globe trotting. There's promises of riches and tombs to explore. Very high action set pieces, and just the writing is great. Like, the banter and the dialogue. Would recommend if you're not a PlayStation owner and you've always been interested in Uncharted.
Sharp and witty writing.
On PC, oh my god, it's going to look chef's kiss. A Naughty Dog game on PC. Like, these games running on PlayStation are actual sorcery. Like, really. So
I can't remember the last time Naughty Dog put out a game on PC.
Have they put a game on PC?
I'm sure back in the day, but this must be the first in decades.
Yeah.
But it's also coming to PS5. I'm curious to see what the
what
upgrade
changes,
path is there. Like, if I own them on PS4, do I? My assumption is no. My assumption is that this is a whole new product. So yeah, but I'm keen to see them on PS5 just for that extra smoothness. Should be good. Yeah.
So this was a surprise.
Yeah, this was quite a big surprise.
So
saw Insomniac, saw Marvel being like, okay, cool, we're getting a Spider-Man teaser. Nope.
Okay, so we haven't said yet, but Marvel's Wolverine is getting its own game made by Insomniac, who, as you've just said, made Spider-Man for the PlayStation. How busy is this studio that last year they've put out Miles Morales, okay? This year, they put out Rift Apart. Then in the same showcase, like, hey, we're making a Wolverine game. Oh, also, we'll get to later, but Spider-Man 2.
Dude. And they put a year on Spider-Man 2. They're like 2023.
But you know what? Like, to their credits, it's interesting because straight up, they were like, it's far. Like, it's not even a 2022. Like, it's straight up, it could be end of 2023, which that's like enough time to maybe take the same. They've got the foundation in base because they've made 2 Spider-Man games now. But they really came out just saying like 2023. It's far away, but here it is. We are making it. Wolverine has no release date, which makes me wonder where in this this production cycle is? I'm assuming after Spider-Man.
So yeah, that's the indication I got, because the PlayStation blog that came out after the showcase spoke about both of these, and they mentioned that Wolverine is being led by the directors of Miles Morales,
Yeah.
and that it is very early in production. So
Yeah.
what that said to me was like, this is after Spider-Man.
Oh my god, what is this quality? I'm guessing 2024, like earliest.
I think at the earliest. I mean, that's why this teaser was just like a pre-rendered thing. I think it was just like we are making this type of thing. What's interesting is that they did confirm that this Wolverine exists in the same universe as Insomniac's Spider-Man.
We're having a whole different Marvel universe, which is just crazy.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you're jonesing for a good Wolverine game, there's the old movie tie-in for Wolverine Origins. That game, fucking great. That movie, terrible. Game is good. Game is like God of War Wolverine. It's great. I enjoyed it. Go play that while you wait. Gran Turismo 7.
7. Vroom vroom.
I cannot believe this game's not out yet. Like,
I mean,
what is polyphony? Like, I get it. Games are hard, but wow, it has become an actual joke that polyphony just takes for fucking ever with its games. So.
I mean, when it comes out, it looks good. Like, it's super pretty.
Looks stunning.
Car games boggle my mind because like Xbox have Forza, right? But these are fast paced, like 60 FPS games that just always look lifelike. There's just, I don't know, they get them right with, they spend a long time crafting all of those cars and cramming some polygons and whatnot into them that they look lifelike, but it just still blows my mind how
the sort of detail. I mean that's probably why it takes forever. The detail they pack into this is just next level to me. But in the same vein, polyphony takes what feels like decades to put these out, whereas Turn 10 Studios for Microsoft.
Oh yeah, they pumping out Forzas.
Forza Motorsport 7 was a while ago, but like they put out a Horizon every other year almost. So, and I feel like even Forza Motorsport, which is the better comparison to Gran Turismo, because they're both simulation, like it's taken Gran Turismo's crown for many years now. So I'm curious to see how Gran Turismo 7, the first big response to that, shapes out, because I think Forza has really eaten the simulation racing's lunch for years now. So it just visually, I've never been into Gran Turismo because I just find the whole license and simulation vibe not my thing. But if you're into this, that looks fucking incredible.
I've got very fond memories of playing the first one and the second one on PlayStation 1. That they were like, they really were mind blowing, and I get you. It's frustrating, if you think of it now, like, oh, I've got to get licenses, I've got to sit and like really save money and build my way up and customize my cars. But there's something also satisfying about that progression of like you work your way through, earning your cars and driving to win money to buy the cars you want.
Yes.
So yeah,
but I do hope they're a bit less. Because in the past, I felt like they're very strict with that, whereas Forza is a real celebration of cars. It's like from the get-go, it's like, you want the fast cars? Fuck it, you get the fast cars. Exactly. So we'll see. I'm keen. I'm keen to just load that thing up and see it on the PlayStation. Marvel Spider-Man 2. I was kind of surprised that this got a teaser so quick.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, we all know it's coming, right? I mean, obviously they're going to make a Spider-Man 2, but I did not expect something so soon after Miles Morales. Like, look, I know they've put a date on it and it's far, but they could have banked this for next year. Like 2022, they say, hey, here's Spider-Man, it's coming next year. And no one would be none the wiser.
This is part of my problem with this showcase, though, is that, like, all the things people say, all the things that are like, man, the showcase was incredible. We got Wolverine and Spider-Man 2, and all of that is so far away.
It's far away.
Like, it's the only thing that's like around the corner is God of War, like maybe. So, we're going to be hearing of Spider-Man for the next 2 years and Wolverine for maybe the next 3 or 4. And it's just so I don't know. But at the same time, I was just happy to see Miles and Peter working together here. Yeah.
And a good little Venom tease over here.
Listen, that voice before Venom was not Venom. That sounds
Craven,
like Craven.
100%.
Yeah. That sounds like Craven the Hunter.
What blows my mind is that so in my head, I have no basis for this assumption, but in my head, I see this franchise as like a trilogy.
Yeah.
And I expected the second game to be like, here's Peter and Miles working together with, another cast of iconic villains. But it feels like we've gone from 8 to like 4 million in terms of stakes. It's like, no, now there's Peter, there's Miles, there's Venom, and I'm like, oh my God.
it's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Well, they did tease Venom at the end of the first one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
30-second spoilers. You saw Harry Osborn in a vat being kept alive, and you saw the symbiote in there. So it was like, okay, Venom's coming.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm curious. Yeah, that design for Venom looks fucking incredible.
Very cool.
So
I do wonder if, in terms of story, if we have a similar thing of, maybe Peter gets taken over by the symbiote and then Miles has to fight him or something. Like they've got room to play.
I'm curious to see how they balance that, because they have said it's still a single player game, it's not a co-op game, but you will be playing as both. But I mean, both of us have played both of them now. They play very differently.
Yeah.
Especially Miles with his electric powers and Peter with more gadgets.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keen. Fun fact about that trailer, though. That trailer was completely rendered in-game on a PS4.
PS5. On a PS4?
On a PS5,
PS5,
sorry.
yeah.
And I saw a comparison on Twitter. Someone took the CG rendered trailer for, I think it was, I don't know if it was the original Spider-Man or Miles Morales, and compared it with this, and this one just looks like better.
It looks
it's real time.
Yeah.
So, crazy.
Good time.
Yeah. I'm keen to see Rift Apart was a hint of what a PS5 only exclusive can look like, and it blew me away. So early 2023, and I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up being
gets pushed out. Yeah. And then the other big one, God of War Ragnarok. Like we knew this was coming, but we finally have an actual trailer.
Again, just to give context to Spider-Man, when we got a tease for God of War, it was originally coming out in 2021, and it was announced like middle of 2020. So like, don't take these dates with like a huge grain of salt.
A barrel of salt. But God of War, very excited for this. The God of War reboot was it 2018? I can't believe it's 3 years ago
it's
already.
Crazy to think about that.
This is it was easily one of the best games I've ever played. Like the fact that it looked that good, ran on a PS4, and like just what a great reboot of an iconic PlayStation character. So sequel, and I'm not alone, like sequel very, very, very highly anticipated by many fans. So to see it finally, it's like, ooh.
Very excited.
Yes, give me God of War.
This trailer got flack for... Okay, it got flack for many things.
For lots of things.
Yeah, I'm not going to give air to a lot of the dumb things. But the thing that struck me when I was watching it, I was like, this doesn't visually look that much better than the first one. And then I saw that sentiment like echoed on Twitter. But then I looked back and I looked at footage, and the first God of War reboot still looks fantastic. This one looks better. Like, in terms of detail and color, like, it definitely looks better. Like, I think because the game is so recent, you have this memory of what it looks like in your brain. But if you compare the two, there's definite changes between them. And this is still out on PS4, so there is that limitation. But there's definitely an improvement. It's not looking. Some people are really reductive and they're like, "Oh, it looks like DLC." No.
I can't.
I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Look, it's an interesting thing because like I'm very happy with Leviathan Axe and spoiler alert, the Chaos Blades. But it's just like, what other moves do we get? What new weapons do we get, if any?
I will put money on you wielding Mjolnir.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, maybe we assume that and they're like, nah. no,
Maybe, yeah.
No one gets to do that. But it's God of War. Like, this game is the combat in this game. It's
chef's kiss.
It's
real
so good, man.
I love how Atreus just got long. He's just like a long boy now.
He just grew his long cat now.
So when I first watched this trailer, I didn't know who Tyr was. So it turns out Tyr is the god of war in Norse mythology.
Yeah, but if you, so maybe it's worth reading up. I don't know, like a recap, because he features throughout, not features throughout, but he does pop up in the first God of War reboots.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, 100% he pops up. And yeah, he's here, and I don't know. I'm curious to see how they progress the story, because obviously this is a spin on Norse mythology. It's not, I mean, even Norse mythology, it's not fact.
Yes, of course.
It's mythology.
Yeah.
But it's like there's obviously a take on this, very much like, Marvel's got a take on Thor. So I do want to know, spoilers if you haven't played God of War. I think it's been long enough. But Atreus is actually revealed to be Loki, which makes me wonder, like, what happens. There's also, the people putting on tinfoil hats saying, Kratos is going to die at some point in these games. So,
well, they have already confirmed that this is the final one in the Norse.
Norse, yeah.
But I mean, I found surprising, to be fairly honest. Yeah.
But I mean, even that, like, they linked this game to the Greek mythology very smartly. They're like, no, these worlds all persist together. So, like, I'm not worried about that. They close the chapter on this, but like, where do they take it? It's a mashing of all these different mythologies, which is cool. Like, I really, really think it's awesome. But
I would, if I was to put money on it, I would say, so firstly, this game is not being directed by Cory Barlog. I didn't know that Sony Santa Monica had a tradition of switching directors between games, because they find that it's very, firstly, taxing to direct a game, but then also just for creative freshness. So Cory Barlog is actually the first one in the studio's history to direct 2 entries in God of War. So he's apparently working on something. He's a producer on this game, but he's also working on an unannounced project at Sony Santa Monica, which I assume will just be like pre-production.
Yeah.
So if I had to put money on this coming back, is that they end this with the Norse stuff, and then we have a break of God of War for a while.
Yeah,
and Sony Santa Monica is going to have something else for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
But just on that, if you want to know how taxing game dev can be, I mean, God of War is the game it is because a lot of hard work went into it. Like, there were many hours put into it, many sacrifices. And like, I was very sad to learn, I think just this week, that Cory Barlog and his wife are actually separated. And like, one of the things I saw is that he works very hard. I'm like, yeah, he clearly he put a lot of work into leading that team. Just, some context on how hard game dev can be. Like, it's no joke.
And I mean,
hats off to
a lot of the story of the reboot for God of War. I know Cory said in interviews, a lot of the themes of like fatherhood and not being there stem from his own personal life and not being the father he wanted to be for his child. Like, he's spoken about this quite openly. So yeah, I mean, I do not begrudge the dude from taking a step back at all.
Sorry. Like, so the reason I got into that, like, tradition aside, like, I'm not shocked that
I think it's a ton of
that he stepped down from being a director. But he's going to direct another game.
He's going to direct something else. Yeah, but I do think I think that thing is like a pretty healthy habit. I mean, you compare that to Neil Druckmann, who did Uncharted like 3, then 4, then he did The Last of Us, then Uncharted 4, and then Last of Us 2, like back to back to back. Like, that sounds horrible. I'm sorry. That just sounds and I mean, he was doing them with Bruce Straley, and Bruce Straley then ended up leaving the company. He's just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, So that was the PlayStation
Showcase. Real exciting future for PlayStation, but cannot tell you when half those games are coming out.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
Who
coming out at
knows?
some stage, but who knows when. But yeah, let's fly through other news because we are long in the tooth here. Remember that Fortnite, well, that Epic and Apple lawsuit?
That kind of resolved itself finally.
They both lost.
Yeah,
it seems.
Essentially, they both lost. I mean, you'll see a lot of headlines saying that Epic won, which in a way is sort of true. But put it this way: Epic had 10 counts that they brought forward to the court. They only won one of them. Apple won 9. So definitely a landslide for Apple. The court says that Epic failed to prove that Apple is monopolistic, which is, I think, the big one. It was sort of like a Hail Mary, but I think it's the one Epic wanted to get. And Epic will need to pay a few $1 million to Apple for breaking their contract last year, which is really like chump change for Epic at this point.
They just sneeze like a minute worth of Fortnite money.
It really is. It's like they need to pay like $12 million. It's like, okay. Yeah. The big thing that Epic did win, and which could change the landscape for apps in general, is a permanent injunction that the judge threw down, and it reads, here I'm reading on Eurogamer, Apple is permanently restrained and enjoined from prohibiting developers from including in their apps and their metadata button external links or other calls to action that direct customers to purchasing mechanisms, in addition to in-app purchasing and communicating with customers through points of contact obtained voluntarily from customers through account registration within the app. So what that really means, and what we are trying to see now, what it does mean in terms of actual like consumer-facing options, is developers no longer have to use the App Store to do in-app purchases. So in the past, you could do like Steam. You could purchase games on Steam, but because those games didn't run on Apple device, it was fine. Whereas something like xCloud, because you were playing that game on an iPhone, they prohibited Microsoft from allowing people to purchase games on the app without paying the 30% royalty fee to Apple. And Microsoft was like, no.
That shit.
Now they're barred from doing that. So the court has basically said, to my understanding, that apps can link out to external purchasing options from the app themselves. So it's different to a sort of Netflix where you could subscribe to Netflix through the App Store and Apple gets their cut, or you can subscribe to Netflix on a web browser outside of it and still use Netflix on your phone. Now, there will be an option within the Netflix app to say, I want to purchase outside of Apple's ecosystem, which is a big thing when you consider their royalty fees on the App Store are a $20 billion revenue for Apple year on year. It is 75% of their business. So unsurprisingly, Apple is appealing this. More surprisingly, Epic is appealing the ruling because they want more of their things. So basically, no one won, but consumers seem to have won because this might change everything for apps. So, and the ruling's only going to be enforced in December, so that's when we'll see how this actually changes. So I'm curious to see what Apple changes because I don't imagine they're very happy about this. And they will come and say that all they're trying to do is protect their consumers. And yes, that's true in a way. But as the judge ruled, they are doing so without giving consumers the choice. They have to give consumers the choice. And right now, Apple doesn't allow that choice. They just force you into one. So so we'll see.
Cool.
Interesting.
Cool stuff, man. Last pieces of news. So interestingly, Arcane working on a game called Redfall.
Vampire Dishonored.
Which Arcane is the Deathloop people, right? They're working on another game and they've had some images leak of their next game, Redfall. I think, where did I see? There was some indication of what kind of game it might be, but I mean, it's early days. Like we don't actually know.
I'm looking at the images now. I mean, it's like a 4-player
It's like a
car.
looter shooter.
Yeah, looter shooter.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of loot, lots of colored loot and whatever. Wow, these images are like gray sandbox levels as well. That's crazy. How did these get out there?
Who knows? But yeah,
interesting. It looks like a very different game for Arcane, to be fairly honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still keen in this. This is coming out summer next year, because it's Arcane Austin,
It's
so
another
the American one. Yeah, and this will be the first one that is only on Xbox Game Pass, stuff like that. So yeah.
And then last piece of news: Tripwire CEO is out after tweeting support for a Texas abortion ban. So he tweeted out basically, I don't know if the tweet is in the story, but he essentially, I mean, if you don't know, Texas has had a real week with abortion laws, and he came out in support of it, which within, I guess, in 24 hours backfired, and yeah, he's gone from Tripwire. I don't remember what he actually said, but it's essentially just like, as someone who's in this industry, I'm going to make a stand. Good on Texas for this law.
It was something to that effect.
Yeah, which got a huge amount of backlash. Well, Tripwire specifically came out with a statement saying we in no way support what was said. And he's since no longer the CEO. So
you had a studio, because they do obviously some development duty and publishing. So they were the developer of Maneater and Killing Floor, but they also publish games like Chivalry 2. So Torn Banner Studios, the developers of Chivalry 2, said, "We do not share the opinion expressed in a recent tweet. Okay. Yeah, this perspective is not shared by a team, nor is it reflected in the games we make. The statement stands in opposition of what we believe about women's rights." There was another studio that said that after the tweet that they were working to cancel all of their contracts with Tripwire.
Sure.
I can't remember which one it is. It's not mentioned in the story here. Yeah. And it was basically a day later, Tripwire said that his comments don't reflect that of the company and that he is stepping down effective immediately. Listen, people are going to scream cancel culture at this thing. There's nothing stopping John Gibson, the former CEO of Tripwire, from having that opinion. And there is nothing preventing people from not wanting to work with someone with those opinions. That is effectively how I see this and how the world works. And at the end of the day, this is a law that violates earlier rulings that were made in the Roe versus Wade case in America. And the U.S. justice system is suing Texas because of this. So this is not he has a different opinion. This is a hotly contested gross violation of women's rights. And to be in support of that is frankly just unacceptable.
It's quite something.
And if people do not want to work with someone like that, they are fully entitled to not be that, especially as a private company that does not need to take into account all of their shareholder opinions. So, yeah. Goodbye. Good riddance.
We'll leave gaming news on that note. He's out.
Yeah, he's out. Peace out. It's really shitty because very recently we spoke about how much fun we had with Maneater, you especially. And it's just fuck, man.
It just puts a dampener. It's oh.
It does. and it's annoying as well because he's just one person in a studio of people that maybe there's other people at that studio that have the same opinion. But maybe there's lots of women at that studio that go, "What the fuck, dude?" Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I was listening to it was the Giant Bombs podcast. They were talking about this. And they mentioned that someone brought up that it's quite an ironic view to have, considering at the beginning of Maneater, the first thing that happens is a big mother shark is forcibly brought aboard a ship and had a baby shark cut out of her. And it's
what
the fuck is going on here? Yeah.
Think about that.
Some real shit going on there. Some real
Put that in your
meta
pipe and
messaging
smoke
going on
it.
there. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Anyway.
gaming news for this week.
We are to Matty's disappointment skipping questions this week.
Mm-hmm.
I know Matty loves the questions
both
so
our
much.
Disappointments. I didn't put out a tweet because I knew we were talking about 3 new games or new things.
New things,
and also the PlayStation Showcase is just going to take up a lot of time, which it did. I think our new segment is like 40 minutes, which is one of the longest we've ever had. But yeah, sorry, no questions this week, but don't worry. We'll field them next week. Don't you worry. We'll make time for them next week.
If you send some in, don't worry. They'll be there next week.
I'll see them. I've got eyeballs on all of them.
Good Lord.
But yeah, then I guess that means we are done with episode 160.
Yeah, that is episode 160. As always, thank you so much for listening. We had a great time playing all these games this week.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be back next week, hopefully with some Deathloop impressions from good old Fig after you've had your pause on it.
Let's see. Maybe you'll have finished it by then.
Hopefully.
Who knows?
Yes,
Who knows
hopefully.
how long this game is?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah,
have
thanks,
a
guys.
great week, and we will see you next week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye.